Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you some heat embossing magic. I created this custom element on this layout. Now to do this you need a few tools. You need a piece of typing paper, just a leftover piece that you're going to fold in half. This will create like a funnel. It can really just be any type of paper, just not too thin. Typing paper is fine. You're going to need your basket lined with foil. I have another video on that. Just a random piece of paper. Of course, you need embossing powder. I'm going to need a stamp because I'm making a custom stamp element, some StazOn, my Versamark ink pad, a punch because I'm making a circle element, okay? And then of course you need a heat gun. Righto, first of all I'm going to punch my element. This is about a 2¼ inch circle punch. You don't get them that much. I'm going to cover that completely using silver embossing powder, and I'm going to make a beautiful bed for my stamp to sit on, and it'll be a custom element. I'm pressing my circle into my Versamark ink pad, which will be the glue that's going to hold the embossing powder. Now I'm just opening the jar of powder and throwing everything all over that element, and then I'm leaving it for about 5 seconds. For me that's the golden rule with heat embossing, because you kind of want the powder to be stuck properly to your element. I'm going to pour the powder back into my little jar. I'm very messy, so and I'm not very careful, so if I don't do that I'll end up with embossing powder all over, and I need to remember to close my embossing pad. Okay, now I'm going to hold my heat embossing tool over this element, and I'm holding it quite close because I want direct heat. Now embossing powder is just finely melted ground plastic, and now what we're going to do is we're just melting the plastic to create one unit again. You can see how it starts to become shiny. Once it's shiny, the rule says it is done. Now I'm counting to 5 again to give it some time to cool off, and there we go. I'm lifting it. As you can see, it's not completely smooth. That is because I only have one layer of embossing powder, and this is quite a detailed powder by Tsukaneko. I love this powder. So I'm just going to repeat this step. I'm going to press my little circle back into the Versamark ink pad, take my piece of typing paper, throw over the powder. Also, if the powder is nice and thick, it gives good coverage. And now I'm counting to 5 again, as you can see, lifting it with my tweezers, and I'm putting it back into my embossing basket. The other video will be shared next week on how I make that, and a few other pointers on heat embossing. Pouring the powder back, putting the lid on, very important, and I am heating it again. You can see that I'm not holding the element down with my tweezers. It's not really necessary because this is not a minute element and it won't blow all over. You can see how beautifully it melts. I'm going to hold it up close now once it's cooled down so that you can see how smooth that is. I just love it. It is absolutely gorgeous, and you don't even see any of the paper. I've counted to 5. I'm lifting my element, and you can see that I don't have any wobbles. It is perfectly smooth. Let me just get back into the camera there, and it's cool to the touch, and now I know that I can stamp onto the surface. Righto, so I'm placing my element down, I'm taking my stamp, and I'm first coating it with my Versamark ink pad. The reason for this is that StazOn will stain my stamp, especially clear stamps really don't like StazOn that much. And now I'm adding StazOn, which is a permanent ink, and it dries immediately onto coated and glossy surfaces, and I am stamping my sentiment onto my custom element. There you can see it is absolutely beautiful, and nobody else has one like that. Even the other ones, if I were to make like 20, they won't all end up looking the same. But can you see how spectacular that is? I mean, it is just really quick, really easy, doesn't cost a cent, and I can make them any color. I wanted to just show you, because I know someone's going to ask me, is the ink permanent? This is about 5 seconds after I did that. I remembered to show you this. You can see the ink is completely dry. It is permanent. I'm even rubbing it. Nothing comes off. Magic, magic, magic. Hope you enjoy heat embossing. And here's a look at that page again. There you can see my element sitting right there on the right hand side, and there's a close-up. Get yours from your local scrapbook shop or scrapbookstudio.co.za.